Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Coach Timmy and today I'm going to be doing a different sort of video. Last week I managed to make the last round of FNCS finals and I played it with Prhzy and Newbatoon. I'll leave their channels down in the description, make sure you show them some love. Absolutely carried me there. As you can see here, I only played 4 games. I was away for the first 2, but I'm going to do this video to sort of show you what I learned from FNCS playing in finals, the set lobby, learning a little bit about how to play finals and go from there. So game 1 was a 0 kill 15th. We'll go over that now. I think there are definitely some things to learn, and there's also a bit of unfortunate circumstances as well. So one of the first things to note was that I got sweaty totally uncontested for all 4 games that I played. I told them I was going to be 2 games late, so people contested there for the first 2 games and then left as soon as they knew I was going to be back. So I don't know if that was out of respect for their elders or if they were actually genuinely scared of me, but who knows. This was the first zone we got, so immediately I was thinking, let's just start rotating immediately. As soon as I see a zone like this, I'm assuming second zone is going to continue to pull further south because that's what we've seen over years of playing Fortnite. So the zone's going to continue to pull that way. I want to make a rotation as soon as possible, which is what we did. And it also meant that we were going to potentially sacrifice a little bit of surge by just continuing to rotate further and further in, rather than setting up and looking for surge in zone 1. So we make our rotation in. I'm basically saying let's just white line it here and basically try and get as far deep in. So another thing that you'll notice is that I don't have many mats. I didn't know Sweaty that well. I don't know where to get max brick, max metal, all that sort of stuff. So we had to do a lot of supplementary farming if we need to make long rotations, because I was immediately saying, I want to rotate fast, let's get out of here. And then picking a spot quickly where I could get that refarm was important to me as well. So at this point, second zone pops, and you can see here it's pulled far like I was expecting. Immediately my thought process is we really got to worry about surge. We've basically got flat 0 at the moment. So I was immediately thinking, let's try and set up on one of these hills up here that we've got good sight lines over people. People are going to rotate into Misty, we can see them and take some tags on them there. Here, and I have to say, Prhzy absolutely carried this game in terms of surge. You'll see later on, he trades out a snipe. He gets some tags later on as well. But immediately, he's like, let's get up on the spot. And from here, we can see a lot of the lobby. We should be able to see a bunch of people walking in. If we sort of go to drone free, we should be able to see a bunch of people running into this sort of area here. So I thought this was a pretty decent spot to set up and we could get some decent tags from. Now, another thing to note is this was my first really laggy set of lobby. So I don't know how much it affected your editing. I don't know how much it affected your aim, the way that you moved about on the map in general. This was a tough thing for me to adjust to, and it's something that as a Fortnite player who's never experienced before, I wasn't exactly, like I said, used to it. So it was a big learning curve for me. Immediately we see third zone pulls to here. Now I don't want to move. I don't want to move at all. Maybe until later on in the lobby, because I'm worried potentially with 69 alive, people are going to be hard looking for surge. I don't want to make any moves. I don't have to. So I call to sit here and let's look for a triple spray. Let's look for a snipe, something like that we can get our surge up with. Because as soon as we move off this high point, we lose a lot of visibility on the lobby and potentially lose any surge that we might be able to get from here. And you can see as I sort of pan around our perspectives, I've got 122 mats. Prhzy's got 100 and Newbatoon's got 127. So we're in a pretty decent spot. What I'm worried about now at this stage is purely surge. As you can see, zone pulls that far, and I'm a little bit worried at this stage about this rotation, but I have seen some old builds, so immediately I sort of call, let's go relatively early here before surge really starts to hit us. You can see there I'm having trouble editing, and now immediately my thought process is, let's try cut lines of sight as much as possible. So I'm trying to cut to the right here where I see these old builds. I do take a little bit of damage there, ramping it off. And again, that's my inexperience about not knowing. Just build. Just build when you're in these sorts of lobbies. There's no point in sitting and taking damage unnecessarily. Now, here's where we're right about surge. You can see that we're only 69 above. I want to be 150 plus above. So when we're this close, to me, it means we're right on the threshold. So I'll pop over to Prhzy here, because he 100% carries the surge here. You'll see what he does. So 60 above, now I'm really calling like, okay, this is getting really bad. We need to start looking for 1-2 tags here. And we're not in the best spot either. Like we're not really able to hold anyone. We don't have sight lines on people, and we do fall below here. And now Prhzy's got to start to take, or got to basically look to take something. So we're getting tagged for more damage here. Manages to knock more, and with that snipe, we're comfortably above. And we're fine for the rest of the lobby. We're pulled half-half, which is nice as well. If you sort of look at how we're set up for late game, we've got 3 minis, 800 builds, 2 minis, 70 builds, and 4 minis and 112 builds. So we're actually not looking too bad leading into late game. I felt pretty confident about what we could do. And First moving does pull up the hill, so if we go here, you can see we've got to go up the side of this hill here, up and over it, and it finishes over the top. So I'm immediately thinking, let's get up the hill before we pad, because if we try to pad over the hill, we're just going to get caught and we're going to get no distance off of it. I'm like, let's break out the side here, let's get up that hill. That's dead side, so I'm like, let's go out of wood. No one should be looking at us. We should be fine to take this fairly freely. And we were. I call that, I want to reuse this pad here. This might have been not the greatest call, but I think we didn't end up taking too much damage. Only Prhzy took a decent chunk there. I'm actually not too sure how. This, again, right here was probably another one of my mistakes. Not picking a more safe spot to land at. That's, again, just me panicking in the moment. All I needed to do there was actually just pull off and land on the ground. But instead I had this hyper focus about landing over there. And this here is where I probably should have died. Here. I get looked at by Suns, Vortex, and I get out with literally 1 health. And you can see here I'm really struggling with the lag. Prhzy's low, I'm low, we both need to heal up. If you look at what I've got here, or Newbatoon's about to drop me the pad, I have 800 builds, 77 builds. Prhzy has 20 builds, so not a huge amount. Newbatoon has 20 builds, not a huge amount as well, but we've got enough to get through this next moving, and with this pad we can get further ahead on second moving. I've got 100 plus builds, I'm chilling, so we can easily make through second moving. I can let these guys work a refresh later on, but as you can see, I lag out, I desync, my internet just decides to go to shit, so I'm left here with 70 builds. These guys are now left to fend for themselves with 20 each, so that's, you know, unfortunate scenario. Definitely think we could have put ourselves into a really good position to do really well this game. So we end up 15th with no kills as these guys kind of try and do what they can as a duo with basically no builds, trying to play shambles tarps late game, and they do go down. So first game takeaways were essentially Surge is everything. Making sure you're setting yourself up into really important spots to get Surge is important, and that rotations actually weren't that difficult. So we'll skip forward to game 4. We'll leave out games 2 and 3 because essentially what happened was we fought the same team twice and it scuffed us both times. So we're not going to look over that. I don't think it's worthwhile, but we'll watch. What I learned from fighting the teams games 4 and 5 was that it's really good to learn the rotation patterns about players around you and teams around you, because essentially we ran into these guys making the same rotations as us, and if we knew that they had those patterns, we'd be able to sort of counteract that a little bit better. So once again, like I said, we managed to get Sweaty uncon completely, which again completely baffles me. We'll never know how the hell we managed that. In our first zone, we can see already pulls to here. Now this was before I learned that the aliens could mess up the NPCs, so we actually do go and try to get a storm reveal here, which does sort of augment our rotation slightly. But also by landing at Spire, I kind of messed up my metal rotation. So by being hungry for loot, I make our rotation to first zone a little bit slower. And as a result, probably our surge was a little bit more scuffed than we might like. So you can see we're only really starting to leave now with 1:34 left on the clock. And to me, I thought this is too late because I wanted to go get zone reveal. I wanted to set myself up for surge. There were too many things sort of on my tick list and not enough time. So despite wanting to make those specific rotations and have that plan in mind, a lot of it depended on what second zone looked like, and I think we kind of got gifted with what second zone looked like. So here we are, we arrive at this part, and I'm thinking this is sick. We're gonna put ourselves in the best position. We're gonna be able to get center third or close to it on top of a spot. We're gonna be able to get surge. I find the bot and she's not selling. She's overtaken by the parasites or whatever the thing is with her. So we can't even get zone reveal after making this rotation up here. So instead of maybe getting on Spire or getting on top of Orchard or potentially finding a better spot over here, which is now taken, we no longer have that. So what happens is Prhzy here finds himself in a fight, and we're forced to play this out as a trio. Now I see third zone pull here, and I'm immediately thinking I want to rotate this as fast as we can. What I really should have done is said to these guys, look, I know you want to fight, but I want to avoid all of this, and I want to try and get as close to center third as possible. This is a lesson for me about being forceful and about really sticking to my guns. I know the game well, and I should have just said, no, let's stop here. I know that we think we can get a kill here, so we do get this kill. And what I think we really do here is over-push this. We go too hard to wipe this trio. In the end, we don't lose a huge amount from it, and we probably don't attract as much attention as I thought we might, but we waste a lot of shield, we wasted a lot of materials for it, and in the end, it probably wasn't as good a fight to take as we initially thought. So in future, what I would have liked to try and do is just basically ignore, after we get the knock and potentially get the finish, completely ignore it, move on, rotate through, and let these guys follow us in, and hopefully we pull 4 zone and we can hold them out. So instead of being stuck on edge of 4th right here, what I would have liked is for us to maybe have pushed our way in, maybe ramp this team in orange, something like that, to put ourselves in a better position for 4th next zone. What we then notice is that a team behind us is starting to rotate in. It's Hello and the team that he's playing with, the Season X FNCS champ. And now Newbatoon and Prhzy do notice these guys, and this is the moment. This is really here. This is, again, this is where I should have been pushing my knowledge as an IGL. This is where I should have said, no, guys, look at how far zone's pushed. Let's not even look back at those guys. If they want to sit in the bush there and get themselves ready, let's completely ignore them. Let's rotate into zone. And I'd also said to Newbatoon very specifically, there is someone in that bush over there. Keep an eye out for him. Be careful. So Prhzy does end up knocking Hello, but the thing is, when we're taking a fight like this on edge zone, we have 45 seconds until zone moves. This was just not the fight to take, and I let these guys lead this instead of myself, and we do pick up 2 kills, but unfortunately Newbatoon goes down because he didn't hear the call about the guy being in the bush, and now it's me and Prhzy trying to 1v2 here. And the thing is, when I'm fighting with you, it's essentially a 1v1. I'm a nobody in a fight. I'm basically useless. I'm going to stand right next to you and hope to hit someone with a decent amount of damage, and that's about all I can do for you. The thing is, now that zone started to move in, this was completely our fault, and we're actually forced to burn 2 different pads. I couldn't find where Prhzy was. Prhzy couldn't find where I was. And as I'm rotating in, the obvious happens, and I get taken out. Again, this is a lesson in being forceful about what you know as an IGL and not letting your fraggers who might know the better thing to do dictate what you do. And we ended up having to play this one out as a solo. Prhzy ended up having to play this one out as a solo, and we didn't go on to win. So essentially what I'm trying to say here is, if you're the IGL, if you're watching my videos and you're trying to learn more as an IGL, this is a perfect example of being forceful and saying to your team, no, we've got to stop here. Let's focus on what the important thing is here, and that's rotating. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. I know I learned a lot from playing FNCS Finals. If you enjoyed the video, tell me by hitting like, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.